Hello everyone, today let us discuss how to prepare for effective classroom management as a part of the unit 3.1. Moving ahead, good lesson planning is essential to the process of teaching and learning, and we all are aware how it can help us deliver a good lesson plan. Moving ahead, a teacher who is prepared well on his or her way to a successful instructional experience, isn't it? But the development of interesting lesson takes a great deal of time and effort, as we all are experiencing it now. And as a new teacher, you must be committed to spending the necessary time to this endeavor, because as a new teacher, we are not always familiar with how the things would go in the classroom sometimes. And it is also important to realize that the best planned lesson is worthless if interesting delivery procedures along with a good classroom management techniques are not in evidence. So it is not only important to write a good lesson plan or rehearse well for it, but it is also equally important to know how to manage classroom, because if classroom management techniques are not well thought of, it can be a disaster, because if the students are not listening to you, no matter how well you have prepared the lesson plan and what kind of teaching aids you have, it cannot help you in the classroom. And there is a large body of research which is available pertaining to a lesson development and delivery and the significance of classroom management. So there are a lot of researches which have been done in that area. And they are the skills that must be researched, structured to your individual style, implemented in a teaching learning situation, and constantly evaluated and revamped when necessary. So there is no thumb rule as such when it comes to classroom management. There are certain things or techniques which are being evaluated constantly and which are being revamped as the situation changes, because every class is different and every teacher is different. And consistency is one of the utmost importance in the implementation of classroom management plans. And we'll see what are the suggested practices we can assume to take forward so that we prepare well for the classroom management. Now, all teachers should understand that they are not an island unto themselves, and the educational philosophy of the district and the uniqueness of the school should be guiding force behind what takes place in the classroom. So you cannot run by a thumb rule that yes, if this practice works in a particular district or in some other teacher's class, the same would work in yours. So the school's code of discipline, which should be fair, responsible, and meaningful, must be reflected in every teacher's classroom management efforts. So it is all also sometimes based on how your school, what are the goals and what is the code of discipline that is followed in your school. So accordingly, all those rules and all the way basically you manage the class would change. Now let us have a brief look at what are the suggested practices we can carry out in order to prepare for effective classroom management, which is of importance along with good lesson planning. To begin with, the first thing that we can do as in order to prepare for good classroom management, we can establish a positive classroom environment. So let us see what it is basically about. So you need to make the classroom a pleasant and a friendly place by being comfortable, developing a rapport with the students, accepting their differences, the individual differences. And as a teacher, we should be aware that not all students are same. Some are good at curricular activities, some are good at extracurricular activities. So you need to understand their strengths and accept them as they are and help them in those areas in which they are lagging behind. Learning activities should be cooperative and supportive. So learning activities should be always such which doesn't undermine any student. Instead, it helps them work together in a cooperative way and in a supportive way so that all can benefit from each other. And create a non-threatening learning environment. So in order to create a non-threatening learning environment, the whole responsibility is with the teacher, like how you manage your classroom, how you are in your class, whether you make your students comfortable in your class or not. All that matters when it comes to creating a non-threatening learning environment. Organizing physical space is another aspect which could contribute to positive classroom environment. Basically, eliminating situations that may be dangerous or disruptive. So you need to be very careful of which aspects you would focus on and which you would ignore. and establish classroom rules and procedures and consistently reinforce them. So in order to manage, or in order to manage your classroom well by establishing a positive classroom environment, you need to have certain rules and procedures for your own class, so that you know what are the rules and procedures to be followed and what will be the consequences of it if the rules and procedures are not followed. And you need to consistently reinforce them, because as a period times passes by, the students tend to forget them. So it is important that as a teacher you reinforce them as and when it is needed. So this was all about how to establish a positive classroom climate, so that it can help you prepare for effective classroom management, so that you can manage your classroom well. Now, we can begin lessons by giving clear instruction is another thing that we can focus on. Now, when we talk about beginning lessons by giving clear instructions, we need to state desired quality of work. So whenever we assume our students to behave in a particular way, it is important that they know what you expect from them. So it is important to state what kind of a work you expect. Have students paraphrase directions. Okay, basically, you can also allow your students to tell you or modify the way you would want the class to go on or any work to be carried out. Ensure that everyone is paying attention. Don't ignore students if they are not attentive in your classroom, because their attention is important, because you're teaching for them. So if they are not paying attention, it is a concern for you. So it is important that you ensure that everyone in the classroom is paying attention to what's happening in the class. Ensure that all distractions have been removed. Distractions, like there are some students always, and it is observed very often in most of the classes that some students, they get easily distracted. So don't make such students sit at places where those distractions will be too many, like near the door, so that whenever someone passes by, they constantly look outside. Okay, so that distractions you should avoid, and such distractions if possible should be removed. If such a case exists, you could close the door of your class, or maybe allow such students who get easily distracted sit in front or sit at the center, so that things get easier and you can catch attention of them very easily. Then describe expectations, activities, and evaluation procedures. So whenever any task is given in the classroom, since it is a part of clear instruction, it is important that we tell them what we expect related to an assignment or a project that we are giving them, or what are the evaluation procedures that will be followed. So all those things should be very clear to them, so that there is a transparency maintained and there is no ambiguity in the interactions that happen between the teacher and the student. Start with a highly motivating activity. So whenever you want to do something and encourage the students, you have to start or motivate them, or start something new with a motivation. Maybe you can show them a motivational video, or you can discuss with them any story which could motivate them for that given task. It really helps. Build lesson upon prior student knowledge. Now this helps because they can relate whatever that you would be discussing in the class with what they already know or what they can relate to. So it really helps them get involved in the classroom. So it will be uh, it is bit less. There is a less possibility that they could cause any misbehavior in the classroom, or which can disrupt your classroom management. Now, the third thing is maintaining students' attention. Now, when we talk about maintaining students' attention, what are the things that we can take care of? Like using random selection in calling upon students. Don't always have same students to answer to your questions. Instead, make it a habit that you choose random students. So all needs to be active in the classroom. Vary who you call on and how you call on them. So the way by which you call them for in order to give an answer, and the way you call them has to be different every time. Okay, so there shouldn't be a pattern which is fixed to your selection of students. And you need to ask questions before calling on a student. Wait at least 5 seconds for a response. Now, this is also a part of one of the skills that we did, that is questioning and reinforcement. So whenever you're asking a question, you're supposed to ask the question to the whole class and not to a student. And then you need to wait for them to register the question and think of an answer. Be animated, show enthusiasm and interest. You yourself should be enthusiastic. You yourself should be interested in what you are going to do in the classroom, because that enthusiasm and that interest will only get transacted to them. Now, reinforce students' effort with praise. So, whenever they do anything good, you need to praise them. You need to vary your instructional methods. Don't always follow a same way of discussion or same way of taking the classroom. Vary the way you vary the approaches that you take, or vary the approaches that you approaches or methods or way of teaching, so that it helps them get different ways by which they can learn the content. Then provide work of appropriate difficulty, because sometimes it so happens that if you have good students in the classroom and the kind of work that you give is not appropriate to the level of intelligence that they possess, they can get bored. But it also happens that sometimes if you give a work which is a bit challenging and they are not of that ability to complete it, then also the same situation might arise. So it's important to understand what kind of a students are a part of your class and what kind of a work would be appropriate for them. Demonstrate and model the types of responses or tasks you want the students to perform. So whenever you expect something to be done, you need to have an example or an illustration beforehand so that they know what is the benchmark that they have to achieve. And provide guided practice for the students, monitor responses and deliver immediate corrective feedback. So it is important that you guide your students continuously wherever they are doing mistakes and wherever you want them to improve, because monitoring how they are doing in a given task is important, because that feedback can help them in a very good way to correct their mistakes at that same point, so that they don't continue to do the same mistakes. So it's important to give individual attention as well. Moving ahead, the next thing or the next suggested practice that we can talk about is using appropriate pacing. Now, when it comes to pacing, it talks about how you're teaching them, your teaching tempo, whether it is too fast, too slow, okay, all that you need to take care of. Watch for cues that children are sometimes becoming confused, bored, or restless. Sometimes lessons have to be shortened. It so happens that you yourself are quite enthusiastic, but the students are not. So don't just continue if they are not interested, because you are teaching for them and their interest matters to you. So it's important to understand and make out whether your students are really interested in your class or not. And if not, you need to shorten the lesson. Then providing suitable seat work. Seat work should be diagnostic and prescriptive. Whenever I'm talking about seat work, it's about the work that you give them in the classroom. So it's important that it helps you understand what they need, and it also will make you design your activities based on that the next time you come to the class. Okay, and you also don't need to develop procedures for seeking assistance and have a help signal. So if students are finding any difficulty in completing a given task, you should be aware that you give them an idea of how to approach you. Tell them if they have any issues, they can approach you, and how to approach you. That also is important. Then develop procedures for what to do when finished. So all those instructions need to be given very clearly, and move around to monitor seat work. So whenever you give any work to the students in the classroom, you need to see to it that everyone is doing it and doing it the right way. Vary methods of practice. The same thing, if you are giving a seat work, any work in the classroom, the way you carry out the work should be varied. Okay, so this were some of the suggested practices that we can do in order to manage or in order to prepare for a effective classroom management. We'll discuss few more related suggested practices in the next lecture. If you have any queries, please feel free to ask it in the chat box. Thank you.